Hello friends, we have entered the eclipse cycle. Eclipses are the times when the north node Rahu and the south node Ketu of the moon become visible. Nodes are these astronomical points in the sky where the sun's orbit and the moon's orbit as seen from the earth intersect. They are mostly invisible. We can't see these invisible points in the sky, but during an eclipse, these points become visible. Rahu and Ketu, the north and the south node of the moon, are these invisible, intangible forces within us that are really a force of change and transformation. The transformation that Rahu and Ketu bring within us are is something that we cannot imagine. It's beyond this three-dimensional space-time continuum. It's beyond the five elements and it's beyond the five senses. They are really intangible and incomprehensible. So they feel like forces of confusion or chaos within us. That is why, the wise sages would give so much importance to the transformative force of Rahu and Ketu. If the eclipse is visible in certain parts of the world, people on spiritual path in that part of the world would generally fast with the idea of really emptying the body being the vessel, right? So really emptying the body or the vessel in order to receive from the universe. Today we have the first lunar eclipse. It's a partial lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio. We are in a unique situation where we have two lunar eclipses, one today, two partial lunar eclipses, so to say. One is today on June 5th, and the second one is on July 4th. That really bookend the annular solar eclipse on June 21st. I'm going to show you on my screen. As you can see, Rahu is in the sign of Gemini, Ketu is in the sign of Sagittarius, whereas Sun and Moon are in the sign of Taurus and Scorpio, respectively. The angle or the degrees are very wide. So as you can see, the orb is pretty wide. It's about 14 degrees for this eclipse, and which actually explains why it's a partial lunar eclipse. When the solar eclipse happens on June 21st, the degrees are so tight that we all will feel the effect more strongly. The sign of Taurus and Scorpio are opposite in nature, and you can see in this diagram they're opposite each other in space too. Taurus is that part of us that is driven by security. It's driven by stability. It's driven by consistency. It doesn't want to move. It loves familiar structures and wants to stick to them. Whereas Scorpio is that part of us, or it's that place in our chart that is driven by insecurity. It's driven by fear. It's driven by a lot of upheaval, a lot of inner churning and transformation. The moon, our mind, being eclipsed in Scorpio, actually presents a very hypersensitive state of the mind where we are very aware of all our fears, of all our insecurities, of all our inadequacies, right? And we are witnessing this in our society right now, where the people of color, all their traumas and all the injustice done against them is brought up to the surface And we have this entire upheaval that is going on in the social fabric where everybody wants a change and wants to transform the society and the culture in such a way that people of color are equally respected, their lives are equally respected. This eclipse is also happening uh, in the section of the sky which is occupied by the constellation called Jeshta. And literally the constellation occupying the space eventually forms the zodiac sign. So in sidereal zodiac or Vedic astrology, the zodiac sign is mapped to the constellation. So Jeshta literally means the protective one or the elder one who is supposed to protect us. It's ruled by the deity called Indra. He was the chief of gods. Indra is a Vedic deity and also a Puranic deity. He's the chief of gods who rules or who presides over the power to bring rains on this planet. And there are two stories. The first story relating to Indra is about a demon, Vritta, who stole all the water from the world. He drank all the water and there was just no water on earth. And in a really gruesome battle, Vritta actually swallows Indra up. But Indra turns out to be victorious because he rips the demon's stomach and emerges from it, and also returns all the water entrapped in the stomach of the demon back to earth. So in Vedic traditions, Indra is a fierce god who protects all the beings on this planet. In later Puranic versions, Indra is the more arrogant god, more complacent but arrogant god. He's depicted that way. And in one of the stories with young Krishna, there's a story about an inner struggle between the residents of this village called Gokula and Krishna. Krishna is questioning or challenging the annual ritual that these villagers do. It's a sacrificial ritual where they are sacrificing their crops of the year and animals and cattle, which are their livelihood, in order to appease Indra, so that Indra is pleased with them and would bless them with good rains for the year. And Krishna challenges the practice and reminds the residents of the villagers of Gokul that their dharma, it's not dharmic to just like bribe a deity. And he in fact urges the villagers to just celebrate their own life and celebrate their harvest instead of just sacrificing their harvest. Indra is really enraged by this defiance of the villagers and brings torrential rains in order with the intention of flooding this entire village. At that moment, Krishna, it's a miracle, he lifts Mount Govardhana on his pinky, and in order to provide refuge to all the villagers. So Govardhana, the mountain Govardhana, acts like an umbrella, which is also a symbol of Jeshta, and acts as a protection, which is also a quality of this constellation Jeshta. That event also creates a huge, deep transformation within Krishna, where he consciously becomes aware of his divine powers, his ability to lift Mount Govardhana on a pinky and carrying this entire responsibility. Instead of just being like this defiant teenager, he has tapped into his inner divine being, where he can lift this mountain on his pinky. So it's a moment of realization, self-realization for Krishna too, where he really realizes his deep inner power. How does it apply to us now? How does this story apply to us now? You know, as we move through these chaotic times where there's so much societal upheaval, it is important, it's really important for us to challenge the age-old, fixed, stubborn, rigid structures of the society, which actually put certain sections of the society at a disadvantage. It's also important for us to take a deeper look at our own internal archaic patterns, how we are biased towards certain things, how we are conditioned uh, and towards certain way of thinking, and how do we, you know, break our own cognitive biases. Of course, this will bring up a lot of fear in a lot of us, uh, because it's just easier to stick to something that is familiar, something that we are used to doing. It's easier to stick to our old patterns rather than just, you know, take a deeper look at who we are as people. Um, so it's it's important for all of us to not just, you know, meditate our way through change, uh, but really address deep trauma within us and within the society, have difficult conversations with each other, even though it is uncomfortable, take radical responsibility for our own actions and for our own patterns and our own way of thinking, and really implement healthy systems, whether it's healthy routines, healthy boundaries, or just healthy standards of conduct, saying no um, to practices or treatment that, you know, disempower others, and saying yes to really empowering ourselves and our fellow human beings. My wish at this time is that as we move through this chaos, the confusion, the injustice, the generational trauma, and the generational pattern that has been handed down, we really have the courage. We have the courage to uphold karma. We have the courage um, to move through the pain. We have the courage to look at our fears and act in spite of our fears. We have the courage to empower others, even though we feel deeply and disempowered, or we feel very helpless. And we have the courage to march forward by being our true, authentic, divine selves. I hope this eclipse cycle helps you gain deep insight into the reality or the truth of your being, and helps you transform to the next level of your evolution and of your true